Yo, 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 Don Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report. Guys, I would have to say that I'm impressed with myself. Who were to know that all it would take is a little quarantine for me to start pumping out videos on an unprecedented level? Honestly, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be like my 5th video within a week's period. And I certainly hope that the Don Mafia appreciates it. In fact, with this quarantine, it's probably going to draw additional questions. Like, Dan, why are you wearing the same shirt that you wore last video? Well, let me tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it's called a laundry machine. It's called a washing machine. Wow, I'm losing my mind. You definitely went on ahead and you read the title of the video, Should the Buffalo Bills Trade for Yannick Ngakoue? And I thought, we should dive into this because it's been trending on Twitter pretty significantly today, especially with all the BS that's been going around with him and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are basically a worse organization than the New York Jets at this point. And who were to ever think that could happen? But right before we dive into that, I do want to let everyone know that I did leak my phone number. I know a shit ton of you have already started texting me. That's awesome. I'm doing my best to get back to you. But say that you haven't. Shoot me a text. The number is right here. And just talk about football, talk about Buffalo Bills, talk about life. Let me know how you're handling this quarantine. I really want to know. Shoot me a text, and let's make this happen. So yeah, I'm sure that you guys have been recently following the news with the entire Yannick Ngakoue situation. It started about a month or two ago when Yannick Ngakoue was not shy with expressing his dissatisfaction with being a part of the Jacksonville Jaguars. In fact, he said goodbye to Jacksonville, like I said, a month or two ago, right on Twitter, basically thanking his fan base, basically the number one thing that all athletes do once they are about to move to a different team. But about 2 hours later, the Jacksonville Jaguars decided to throw the franchise tag on him. Now, several people were questioning, like, why the hell would you throw a franchise tag on somebody that you clearly know that he doesn't want to be a part of your organization anymore? But realistically, the Jags probably did that because they're well aware of the fact that Yannick wants nothing to do with that organization ever again. But at the same time, they want to get something for him. They want to see some type of value in a trade. And realistically, that makes a lot of sense because the Jags really don't have a lot of cap space from the beginning of free agency in general. And their roster is probably going to take a couple of more years for them to ever get to that level of them being contenders again back in 2017. So fast forward to today. Mike Garofalo said the Jaguars have heard from multiple interested teams about a possible trade for defensive end Yannick Ngakoue, who turns 25 today. The Jags value him and won't give him away for a little return, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out as we draw closer to the draft. Now, Yannick Ngakoue responded, retweeted it, and commented, "Let's agree to disagree. Why hold a man from taking care of his family? It's obvious my time is up in my current situation. Let's both move on, Jaguars." This is really interesting. This is basically like Yannick Ngakoue is trying to break up with his crazy girlfriend who just won't take no for an answer, and that being the Jaguars. So it's clear right now that the Jags are shopping around, and Yannick Ngakoue will not be a part of that organization. So it brings us to this question and this question alone. Should the Buffalo Bills trade for Yannick Ngakoue? This whole video idea came up because Buffalo Fanatics actually put out a poll, I believe, saying, would you trade a 2020 second round, third round, and then I think a 2021 third round pick for Yannick Ngakoue? And I personally voted no, and I'm going to stick by that because just hear me out. Number one, in my opinion, would I take a deal like that? Yes, but the Jags are not going to go for that. And as you know, the Buffalo Bills have surprisingly a dwindling cap space at this point, while you're still lingering past the fact where we still need to extend Matt Milano, Trey White. We realistically need to do one of them, not unless we sort of want to up our locker room. and then have like a bunch of drama spread from that itself by bringing on somebody else, paying them a whole bunch of cash. So as far as a financial situation on the Bills side of things, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. When it comes to giving the capital that the Buffalo Bills have for a Yannick Ngakoue, in my opinion, they're just not going to take a second, third, and then a third in 2021. They're going to want one of our players, one of our impact players, somebody that could be somewhat of a cheap deal. And realistically, there's no player on the Bills right now that I would be willing to part with that the Jags wouldn't want. So, I mean, for example, I saw a couple of scenarios where someone was just like, oh, let's just trade Beasley and then those picks. Like, no, that definitely doesn't make sense. I mean, we just pick up Stephon Diggs. Now we have 3 very reliable receiving targets just to go out ahead and just let somebody else walk and be back to square one afterwards. Really doesn't make sense off of that area. So, I mean, you're not going to trade him. You're not going to trade like a Matt Milano. You're not going to trade like a John Brown. The players that I would be willing to give up for Yannick Ngakoue plus some picks, the Jags probably wouldn't take them. Like, I mean, who could we realistically send over to them that could be of some value? Like Yeldon, they're not going to go for that. It really doesn't make sense, and I don't foresee the Bills making this move. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love Yannick Ngakoue. You all know that I was so pumped about him. He was like the free agent target that I really wanted. And then we got Stephon Diggs, and I was even more excited. But now, like, it just doesn't make sense. I think that us foregoing the draft in general would be more of a hurt on us at this point. Now, don't get me wrong. If Yannick Ngakoue comes to the Bills, I'm not going to be pissed off by any means. I mean, but we better win a Super Bowl, because I mean, we're like really like halting sort of the development of our team in the future, especially if the Bills want to be contenders year in and year out for the considerable future. So don't get me wrong, while Yannick Ngakoue would be a huge splash contributor to the Buffalo Bills defense, I still have plenty of faith in Mario Addison. He's recorded over 9 sacks throughout his past 4 seasons. And, I mean, you could really look for a very similar season coming into Buffalo. I'm fine with Jerry Hughes. I'm fine with Trent Murphy. And then, of course, like, I mean, like, we have some great defensive tackles. We have Ed Oliver, who is hands down going to have a breakout season this year. Harrison Phillips is coming back. So, I mean, as far as the pressure on the quarterback is concerned in 2020, I think we're going to be okay. And missing out on a Yannick Ngakoue wouldn't hurt us that bad, in my opinion. Those are basically my thoughts, guys. I don't think that we should trade for Yannick Ngakoue. As much of a talented player as he is, I just don't foresee it happening. It doesn't make sense. It's not a Brandon Beane move. Definitely comment. Let me know what you think. Really want to hear your thoughts. Say that you're new here. My name is Dan Mitchell, and I regularly put out Buffalo Bills and NFL content on a regular basis. If that's your cup of tea, I highly recommend smashing the subscribe button, liking this video, and telling a friend. Besides that, guys, thank you again for tuning in. Stay healthy. Make sure to take care of yourself and your family. And above all else, let's go Buffalo.